Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about content scheduling. In other words, how to make your content from XOGO Manager appear on the screens where you want it to appear on precisely the days and times when you want it to appear there. So first things first, you'll see I'm logged in here to my own XOGO Manager account, and I'm going to click on one of the playlists that I have. Now, it's important to note that you can actually do scheduling within any playlist in XOGO. So before we get started, let's just touch on a couple of things that are what I would call scheduling adjacent. So remember, when you're here editing a playlist, first of all, you can just drag and drop any item of content to reorder the playback order. So, this is the order in which all these items are going to be looping, generally 24/7, but we're going to go in and schedule some too, so that things play on different days and times. This is also where you're going to adjust durations. Now, you'll see these three items of content are all videos, so they appear grayed out. They're always going to play in their entirety. But images, widgets, and website URLs, you can adjust the duration for those. By default, we have them set to 15 seconds, which is a pretty good placeholder, but you can actually adjust it as short as 1 second, which is too short, or you could adjust it up to 24 hours, which is quite a long time. You might have to worry about screen burn-in and things like that at that point. But yeah, usually sort of 15 seconds to 30 seconds is a pretty good placeholder for your duration. It kind of depends on how captive your audience is. You can do a bit longer durations if you have people, sitting in a waiting room and it's more of a stationary audience, versus if you're running ads in a shopping mall, for example, where you've got distracted people passing by constantly. You want to go with faster durations. So at least they see maybe 2 or 3 items of content as they're approaching and walking past. Just kind of a general rule of thumb. We also have this new auto delete feature I mentioned in other videos. You now have the ability, as of a couple weeks ago, to include content in a playlist that will automatically delete itself from the playlist and consequently from all players that are playing that playlist on a very precise date and time down to the minute. So, if you want to wish somebody a happy birthday in the morning, but you want that message to disappear later, or maybe you have VIP visitors coming into the office, you want to welcome them, but you don't want to have to go back into XOGO to delete that later, just set it up with auto delete. You can set it and forget it. Pretty easy. Now let's get to what we're actually here to talk about today, which is the content scheduling. There's 2 ways to do it, and first we're going to touch on the scheduling within a playlist, which allows you to schedule the days and times of the week when certain items will play, and then we're going to touch on something called calendar-based scheduling, which we call Playlist Planner here in XOGO Manager. So if you've seen that and you're wondering what it's all about, we're going to cover that as well. So to start, let's go ahead and click on Schedule, which is this white and blue button here in the top right corner of our playlist. And what's going to happen is you're going to see the days of the week, Sunday through Monday. If we expand these, you're going to see that everything is set by default to play on a 24/7 basis. So in other words, everything is going to be rotating throughout your playlist using the durations that you've set. Everything's going to play 24/7. There are instances in which we would want to schedule that. We would want that to be different. Classic example, restaurants. You might want to have a breakfast menu in the morning, lunch menu in the afternoon, dinner menu in the evening, and that's all that's going to appear on screen. So I'll show you how to set that up. And then another example might be, maybe you're a bar that has a happy hour playlist. So you want to have content that's rotating all the time, but you want to drop something into the rotation only from Monday through Thursday between 4 and 6 when we're having happy hour. I'll show you how to set that up as well. And then we're going to talk about the calendar-based scheduling, or playlist planner as we call it. So let's go ahead and jump in here. I'm going to expand these days, and let's just go with the first example kind of up top. Now we're going to adjust a schedule. Let's just pretend this is actually advertising material, but let's pretend that our top graphic here is a breakfast menu. Second one is a lunch menu, third one is a dinner menu, and we're actually not going to use the fourth one because in this instance, we don't want anything else appearing in the rotation and taking people's eyes off the menu. We just want there to be the appropriate menu for that time of day on the screen. So in order to edit this, we could actually just grab and drag the blue bar, but I like to be really precise down to the minute, so I like to click on the pencil over here. So let's just leave this, the start time set to midnight, which in other words means whenever I get in the morning and I plug in my screen and my player. And let's have this breakfast menu playing until 11:59 a.m. It could be anything you want. Now let's say that the lunch menu is going to kick in 1 minute later at 12 p.m. So they'll butt right up to one another. And we want that guy playing until, I don't know, let's say 4:59 in the afternoon. And then let's say that we want a dinner menu playing after that. That guy's going to start playing at 5 p.m. and it's going to play the rest of the day until I shut the screen or the player off. Let's go ahead and click save. And now we have our restaurant menus set up and scheduled. So in other words, on a rolling basis, on Sundays, as we currently have it set, we're going to have one item of content. We're calling it a breakfast menu, playing until noon, and then a lunch menu kicks in, then a dinner menu kicks in. There's nothing else in the rotation. So this is how you would set it up for a restaurant. If you're happy with that day, by the way, you don't need to do that all over again. You can just go copy day. I'm going to copy from Sunday. As you can see, we're going to copy that to Monday. Let's click the blue button to confirm, and let's save. Now I've just set up a restaurant menu. I've scheduled the timing in just a few seconds. I copied it. It's playing for 2 days out of the week currently. Pretty easy, right? Let's go ahead and go with the other scenario where we're going to do this on Tuesday here. I'll open up Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, let's say that we want to have something in the rotation. Maybe we're running some advertisements. We're not doing food menus on this other screen. So maybe we want to have stuff in the rotation 24/7, but we have one item, we're calling it a happy hour menu, that we only want to appear Mondays through Thursdays, and we only want it from 4 to 6 p.m., let's say. Well, in that case, let's assume this fourth item is my happy hour menu. Now I'm going to put 4 p.m. here, and it's going to play until 6 p.m. only. And there you go. So now we're advertising from 4 to 6. Every fourth item that pops into the rotation is going to be this happy hour promotion. We're offering, $3 off beers and 50-cent wings or whatever the promo is. And just the same as with the restaurant menu, when I'm happy with this, let's take my Tuesday, and maybe I want that to play on, Wednesdays and Thursdays, probably not Fridays and Saturdays. We can click to confirm, and now you'll see here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have this happy hour content that's playing only from 4 to 6 in the rotation. Then it immediately drops out of the rotation again, and just your other items are playing. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how easy it is to schedule something within a playlist to play within certain days and times. So that's half the battle. Now, there is another aspect of content scheduling that we should talk about, and that is calendar-based scheduling, or what we call playlist planner. So let's jump into that as well. Now here you're going to see there's a planner tab in the left navigation in XOGO Manager. I'm going to click plus add new, and we'll give it a name. I don't know, we'll just call this Planner 1, which isn't super inspired perhaps. Let's go manage playlists, we're going to click on. Now I only have 2 playlists in my XOGO account at the moment, so we're just going to add them both. Let's click here. And now one of these playlists, generally the first one you add, you can change it, is always going to be the default. So if we scroll ahead month to month, March, April, May, you're going to see this break room one that we added first is the default. It's in light purple, kind of lavender color if you can't see it. And here we are on March 16. Now let's assume that, that playlist, including, it might be set up for 24/7, or like the front lobby playlist, we just did a bunch of scheduling within it. Now let's say I want to have that my players switch from what playlist they're playing, but on certain days of the month, or maybe there's a breaking date, and then after that date I want a different playlist to play. Well, you don't actually need to go into XOGO Manager and click on each individual player and tell it, okay, it's the 16th, I want you to switch over to this other playlist. You can actually use the playlist planner to set it and forget it and do that automatically. What do I mean by that? Well, we've got 2 playlists in here. You can see the front lobby, it's a bit darker purple color. Well, let's say for some reason we have a promotion going on. Maybe it's only for these 3 days, but let's just say on the 25th of this month, I want the playlist to change on any player that's running this playlist plan. And I want it to flip from using our break room playlist to our front lobby playlist. And a good example of this might be, let's say you're a retail customer. You want your players, you've got 100 of them out there, and you want your players to switch from playing a normal kind of digital signage attract loop, we would say, to, maybe it's a back to school special that you want to play, or a Thanksgiving special, Christmas, Halloween, whatever sort of holidays are coming up that you might want to run promotions around, this is how you would do that. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to click on swap. So you'll see I clicked on individual days of the month and I clicked on swap, and now after the 25th, the front lobby is the playlist that's going to play on these days. It's no longer break room. And I could do the same thing here if I wanted all of April. I want the same thing to happen. I want the front lobby. Could be a Christmas playlist, who knows. And now for all of April, that would play. Anytime after what I've scheduled, the playlist planner is going to default back to its default playlist, if you will. So you'll see for May and June, it's still break room. Now I could do this on a permanent basis, of course, just by clicking on the player in XOGO Manager, switching its playlist to something else. But this is a really useful tool for running temporary things when, you know, most of the year I want my players to be running this advertising playlist, but for a month I want it to do back to school, and then I want it to go back to its normal playlist. Well, you can set it, forget it in here, do everything weeks or months in advance and set it up, and just know that your players are automatically on those dates going to download, cache, and play a different playlist. So kind of cool. Let's look at one last thing. Let me save this guy. So now we have this playlist plan where the second, I guess the last quarter of March and all of April, the player is switching to a different playlist. How do I actually make that happen on the player? Well, I've got one player set up here in XOGO Manager, and let's look at associated playlist. Now this is where you would tell the player which playlist you want it to play. Generally, it's going to be a standard playlist, which you can see here by kind of the dots and lines. But in our case, if I wanted this player to be able to automatically download and apply different playlists from the playlist planner, this is where I would select planner. And you can see it's different because it looks like a little calendar. So we're going to click there, click on save. And now what will happen is this XOGO Mini Max that I have is on the 25th of the month, it's going to swap its playlist and it's going to play our other playlist for the rest of March, all of April, and then June 1st, it's going to flip back to the other playlist. Now, I realize that can seem confusing. It's really handy especially for marketing teams at larger companies that want to sort of set everything up in advance on a content calendar and have things rolling. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that we just went through it pretty quickly. How do I schedule things for my restaurant? You know, different days and times. How do I use this? I don't quite understand this calendar-based scheduling yet. Just reach out to us. You can reach us at the little chat bot in the bottom right-hand corner of our website or XOGO Manager. You can also reach us at support.xogo.io, and our team will be happy to help you. We can jump right into your account and help you set things up the way that you want, of course, or just answer any questions that you may have. Thanks again for your time.